Middle-class families across America face a choice that could make or break their financial future, and the answer might surprise you. Two massive states, both economic powerhouses, both offering completely different visions of what middle-class life should look like. One promises lower taxes and cheaper housing, the other boasts better salaries and more job opportunities. But here's what nobody tells you about the real cost of living in Texas versus California, and why thousands of families are making moves they never thought they'd make. Picture this. You're a nurse earning $70,000 a year. In Austin, that paycheck lets you rent a decent apartment, save a little, maybe even think about buying a home someday. Take that same salary to San Francisco, and you're basically living paycheck to paycheck, sharing an apartment with roommates well into your 30s. But wait, before you pack your bags for the Lone Star State, consider this. That same nursing job in California might actually pay $95,000. Suddenly, the math gets a lot more complicated, doesn't it? This is the reality millions of Americans are grappling with right now. The great migration between these two states has become one of the defining demographic shifts of our generation. For years, we've heard the headlines about people fleeing California for Texas, trading sky-high costs for affordable living. But the data tells a far more nuanced story, one that could completely change how you think about where to build your life. Let's start with the elephant in the room: housing. The median home price in California hovers around $700,000. In Texas, it's closer to $300,000. That's not a small difference. That's life-changing money. A middle-class family in Dallas or Houston can actually afford to buy a 3-bedroom house with a yard. That same family in Los Angeles or San Diego might be stuck renting a small condo indefinitely. For families trying to build generational wealth through homeownership, this gap feels insurmountable. But here's where it gets interesting. While Texas celebrates its lower housing costs, the property taxes tell a different story. Texas has no state income tax, which sounds amazing until you realize they make up for it with some of the highest property taxes in the nation. The average property tax rate in Texas is around 1.7%. In California, thanks to Proposition 13, it's capped at around 1%. So that $300,000 home in Texas? You're paying about $5,000 a year in property taxes. Meanwhile, even on a $700,000 California home, you might only pay $7,000. The gap narrows significantly when you factor in the bigger picture. Then there's the income question. California jobs, especially in tech, healthcare, and professional services, tend to pay significantly more than their Texas counterparts. A software engineer in Silicon Valley might make $180,000, while the same role in Austin pays $130,000. That's a $50,000 difference. Yes, California has state income tax eating into that difference, roughly 10% for middle to upper middle class earners. But even after taxes, many professionals find they're still ahead financially in California, at least on paper. The cost of living extends far beyond housing, though. Groceries, gas, utilities, insurance, all of these daily expenses add up differently in each state. California's gas prices consistently rank among the highest in the nation, often $2 more per gallon than Texas. For a family driving 2 cars, that's easily an extra $200 a month. Utilities in Texas, particularly air conditioning during those brutal summers, can run significantly higher than in many parts of California where the weather is more temperate. A summer electric bill in Houston can easily hit $300 or more, while a San Diego resident might pay half that. Healthcare costs present another fascinating contrast. Both states have robust healthcare systems, but the way you pay for them differs dramatically. California expanded Medicaid under the Affordable Care Act, providing more options for lower-income families. Texas did not, leaving more people in a coverage gap. For middle-class families with employer-sponsored insurance, the differences might be minimal, but for those on the edge of middle class or self-employed, California's marketplace options often provide better value. Education is where passionate debates ignite. Texas spends less per student than California on average, but outcomes vary wildly within both states. The best public schools in both states are excellent, often found in affluent suburbs. The worst schools in both states face serious challenges. What matters more is the specific district you're in rather than the state itself. However, California's investment in community colleges through programs like free tuition for low-income students gives it an edge for families planning for college without breaking the bank. The lifestyle factor cannot be ignored. California offers unparalleled natural diversity: beaches, mountains, deserts, forests, all within a day's drive. The cultural scenes in Los Angeles and San Francisco attract creative professionals who value that environment despite the costs. Texas counters with a different appeal: wide open spaces, a strong sense of community in many areas, and a culture that celebrates entrepreneurship and self-reliance. For some families, the ability to have a big backyard and know their neighbors is worth more than proximity to world-class museums or beaches. Job security and economic diversity matter tremendously for middle-class stability. California's economy is incredibly diverse, from agriculture to entertainment to technology to international trade. Texas has successfully diversified beyond oil and gas, becoming a major tech hub and attracting corporate relocations. Both states have proven resilient, but California's sheer economic size, the fifth largest economy in the world if it were a country, provides a cushion that's hard to match. Climate plays a bigger role in daily life and expenses than most people initially consider. California's mild climate in many regions means less spent on heating and cooling, fewer weather-related home repairs, and year-round outdoor activities. Texas heat is no joke, with summers regularly exceeding 100 degrees and high humidity in many areas. That means higher cooling costs, more wear on vehicles and homes, and limited outdoor time for several months each year. On the flip side, California's drought conditions and wildfire risks have introduced new costs and stresses that didn't factor into calculations a decade ago. The social safety net differs significantly between these states. California has stronger worker protections, higher minimum wages in many cities, paid family leave, and more robust unemployment benefits. For middle-class families, these might not matter in good times, but they're crucial during hardship. Texas takes a more hands-off approach, which some see as promoting business growth and others view as leaving workers more vulnerable. Your perspective on this often depends on your personal values as much as your finances. Transportation costs vary based on where exactly you live in each state. Texas cities are notoriously car-dependent, meaning every adult in the household likely needs a vehicle. That's 2 car payments, 2 insurance policies, double the maintenance. Some California cities, particularly San Francisco and parts of Los Angeles, offer public transportation options that can eliminate the need for a second car, saving thousands annually. However, vast parts of California are just as car-dependent as Texas, so this advantage only applies to specific regions. The tax situation deserves a deeper look because it's more complex than the headlines suggest. Yes, Texas has no state income tax, while California's tops out above 13% for high earners. But middle-class families in California might pay 8 to 9%. Texas makes up revenue through higher property taxes, higher sales taxes, and various fees. When researchers calculate total tax burden, including all taxes and fees, middle-class families in Texas typically save money, but not as dramatically as the zero income tax figure suggests. Retirement planning looks different in each state, too. California doesn't tax Social Security benefits, which is huge for retirees. Texas doesn't either, so they're equal there. But California's higher lifetime earnings for many professionals mean bigger retirement account balances and higher Social Security payments. That software engineer who earned more in California throughout their career might have an extra $1 million in their 401k by retirement, despite the higher costs along the way. Quality of life measurements are deeply personal. Some people thrive in California's cultural diversity and progressive politics. Others feel more at home with Texas values and culture. Some families love the space and affordability Texas provides. Others willingly pay California's premium for the weather and lifestyle. There's no objective right answer here, which is why both states continue to grow despite their different approaches. The political environment affects daily life more than many people realize. California's regulations mean stronger environmental protections, more stringent building codes, and greater worker rights, but also slower development and higher business costs. Texas's lighter regulatory touch means faster business growth and housing development, but sometimes at the cost of environmental or worker protections. Middle-class families benefit and pay costs under both systems. Community and belonging might be the most underrated factor in this comparison. Moving to a new state means leaving behind friends, family, and familiar communities. The financial spreadsheet might say move to Texas, but if your entire support network is in California, the emotional and practical costs of moving might outweigh the savings. Similarly, career opportunities in your specific field might be concentrated in one state or the other, making the choice clearer. The future trajectory of each state matters too. California faces serious challenges with housing affordability, homelessness, and sometimes feeling politically gridlocked. Texas faces questions about water resources, power grid reliability, and rapid growth straining infrastructure. Both states are working on solutions, but middle-class families are betting their futures on how well these issues get resolved. Here's what the data actually shows when you dig past the headlines. Middle-class families can thrive in both states, but the path to success looks different. In Texas, success often means home ownership earlier, more space, lower taxes, but potentially lower wages and fewer public services. In California, success might mean renting longer, less space, higher taxes, but potentially higher wages and more comprehensive public services. For families in certain industries, particularly tech and entertainment, California still offers opportunities that justify the costs. For families prioritizing homeownership and space, Texas delivers what California increasingly cannot. The shocking truth isn't that one state is clearly better than the other. The shocking truth is that both states are squeezing the middle class in different ways, and the right choice depends entirely on your specific situation, values, career, and priorities. A teacher with 2 kids might find Texas offers a better quality of life. A tech worker might still come out ahead in California despite the costs. A retired couple might choose based purely on weather and proximity to grandchildren. What we're really witnessing is two different experiments in how to build a prosperous state in modern America. Texas bets on low taxes, light regulation, and business-friendly policies to drive growth that benefits everyone. California bets on higher taxes, funding better services and protections that create shared prosperity. Both approaches have merits and flaws. Both create winners and losers. The middle-class migration between these states will continue because people vote with their feet. Some will leave California for Texas, seeking affordability. Others will move to California for opportunities. Many will stay put in either state, finding ways to make it work where they are. The key is making an informed decision based on your unique circumstances, rather than following headlines or assumptions. Run your own numbers. Consider your career trajectory. Think about what matters most to your family. Visit both states if you can. Talk to people living the life you're considering. This isn't just about Texas versus California. It's about defining what middle-class life means in modern America and recognizing that there's more than one path to achieving it. Whether you choose the California dream or the Texas opportunity, success comes from understanding the trade-offs and building a life that aligns with your values and goals. The shocking truth is that the right answer for your family might be completely different from the right answer for your neighbor, and that's exactly how it should be.